Other CG Math students, welcome to homework 10.1 probability. So we'll be using this bag right here to determine probability questions. So it's helpful right off the bat to say, hey, for red marbles, if I count them up, I know I have 3 marbles. For blue marbles, if I count them up, I know I have 3 of them. And for green, if I count them up, I know I have 2 of them. So a total of 8 marbles in the bag. So for number 1, it says what percent of marbles are red and blue? Express your answer as a fraction decimal percent. So basically what you want is your desired, which is your red and your blue, over your total, right? So red and blue is going to be 3 and 3, which is 6 over 8, which is, if you simplify that, is 3/4. 3/4 as a decimal is 0.75. As a percent is 75%. So make sure that you check off that you've done fraction, decimal, and percent. Some questions will ask you for all 3, some will ask you for 2, some will ask you for just 1. Make sure you check off. Number 3, what is the probability of randomly selecting a green marble from the bag? So if you recall that there are 2 greens, so you want green out of your total, which is going to give you 2 over 8. It says express your answer as a fraction as a decimal. 2 over 8 is simplified to 1/4, and 1/4 as a decimal is 0.25. So that's that. Number 5, what is the probability of randomly selecting a green or blue marble from the bag? So you want green or blue, and out of your total again. So green and blue together is 5 out of 8. It says express as a fraction, which we've done, now as a decimal, which is 0.625 if you just have your eighths reference sheet. That can help you out. And lastly, number 7 on the front, an individual selects 2 marbles from the marble bag. If the first one is blue, there's probability selecting a green with the second pair, with the first marble not being replaced. That's the key thing. So I want blue out of total, and then I want the next event to be green out of my total minus 1, because I'm not going to put the marble back. So the first one being 3/8, because there are 3, and then times 2, not eighths, but 7th, because I'm subtracting 1 because I'm not putting the marble back. So I can cross cancel here. This becomes a 1, this becomes a 4. It says express your answer as a fraction. So when I multiply straight across, I get my answer of 3 out of 28. Go to the back side. It says use the spinner to help with your probability. So this is obviously green is obviously 50% or 1/2. Blue, so actually let's do purple. Purple, as you can see, is 1/4 of this, or 25%. And blue and red together are 25%, so individually they're each 1/8. So 1/8, 1/8, right? So for number 1, it says which color spinner has the greatest chance of being landed on? Obviously that's green, because it is 50% and the greatest percentage of the spinner. All right. Let's do number 3. On one spin, what's the probability of landing either on red or purple? So for red, that's 1/8. Red is 1/8. Or purple, which is 25% or 1/4. So you're actually going to say add these together. Sorry, purple. Got that wrong. Because you're saying, okay, I want to land on this entire section right here. So what's the probability of doing that just on one spin? So 1/8 plus 1/4. And in order to add that up, we need to go ahead and find common denominators. So that's 1/8 plus 3/8, 2/8, excuse me. And that gives you 3/8 as your answer, or 37.5% chance of landing on red or purple. Number 5, if the spinner is spun one time, what is the probability of landing either on blue, green, or purple? So your blue, green, or purple. So 1/8, 1/2, and 1/4 is what you're adding up, right? So you got blue, green, or purple. So blue is, again, if you go back to the top, you'll see blue is 1/8, green is 1/2, and purple is 1/4. Blue is 1/8, green is 1/2, purple is 1/4. So again, we got to find common denominators. So for 1/2, 1/4, and 1/8, the common denominator is 8. So 1/2, I got to multiply by 4. 1/4, I got to multiply by 2. And we're going to be adding all this up, right? So we're going to be adding 1/8 plus 4/8 plus 2/8, which when I add up together, I should get 7/8 as my answer, or 87.5% chance of landing on one of those. Right? And if the spinner is spun 100 times, how many times should it land on purple? So what's the probability of it landing on purple? It's 1/4. So if I spin it 100 times, probability of it landing on purple is 1/4. And just multiply this by 100. So 1/4 times 100, or 100 over 1, should give you 25 times. Right? That's it. Call me for questions.